Today we're making progress on the Pixel Clock. So in the last video we went over the design of the clock, and the next stage of that is to 3D print all the parts ready for assembly. But this wasn't exactly smooth sailing. So before printing the clock in its full scale, I thought it best to make some smaller prototypes just to make sure that everything fits together the way that it's supposed to. So here's a mini version of the grid. These will be 8x8 in the final thing. We'll print 10 of those to make up the entire pixel array. And I printed out a back, which is how the LED strips will fit to the frame. But this one's actually back to front because these little crescents need to be on this side, not on this side. But print the prototype, found that out, which is kind of what the point is. We've then prototyped the diffusers. So the intention was that the diffuser is fitted to the front of the grid, a bit like this. Now this one was printed in one single colour, but it doesn't actually work. It gives a kind of a light box effect where each of the different LEDs give this sort of halo, an overspill between them. So what we really need is for the grids to be printed out in a solid colour. So changed over to print them in black. So this is a multi-layer print. It's not actually a multi-colour print. So the print is stopped at a certain layer height before then changing the filament to a different colour and then continuing the print. So this one's only got 2 layers of white in, and as a result you can see it's too thin, really. You can see all the black lines through it. You can also see some of the print artifacts, but that's actually because of one of the printers, which we'll come to later. So then we made it a bit thicker. Again, this is the same printer as well. This is actually the Prusa Mini Plus, a good workhorse, but I haven't given it enough maintenance by the looks of it. So it was actually taken out of service after I printed this and given new lubricant, cleaned up, blew all the dust out the extruder, all that sort of thing. Prints a lot better now. And then finally we come to this print, which is perfect for what we want. So this is actually, I think, 3 layers rather than 2, and you can't see the grid through the front of it. So with this in mind, we then printed the full thing, an 8x8 grid, this one. Spot the problem though. These are very, very, very different in terms of the type of white and the amount of transparency. Now it transpires that this is actually a filament from 3D filler print, which unfortunately are no longer around, so I can't use any more of it. Whereas this print is Polymaker Poly White PLA. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to recalibrate it so that we get this sort of effect, but with the Polymaker filament, just because I can buy this in large quantities, whereas filler print is no more and I can't buy any more of this. Bit of a shame really, because that actually is a perfect effect. Then finally, wasn't the only mishap that we had as well. So this is one of the back plates that we printed, and this came out of the Voron. And there's something wrong with the Voron. It's the best way to put it, because this print is not square. It is, I don't know if you can see that well on camera, but it's quite a bit off. So what that means is that the front and the backs don't actually marry up properly. So you end up with, let's get this the right way around. So you end up with kind of, if I can line it up properly so I can demonstrate it, you end up with this, where it's kind of, it's all on the skew. So that'll have to be taken out and recalibrated and work out what's wrong with that, if the thing's racked or something. But nevertheless, we did get some successful prints in the end. And so here we have a complete corner printed out. And you can still see the grid through it. It isn't quite as completely opaque as that demonstration one. However, going any thicker with the Polymaker ended up making the LEDs really, really dim. because it was then too thick. So this is kind of a compromise between the ability to see the LEDs through it and the thickness of the front plate. I think this is now up to, I think 0.8, so 4 layers of 0.2. And that seems to be sufficient for letting enough light through, but also not being too opaque. So now all we've got to do is we've got to print another 9 of these and then assemble together. So the final thing, well, at least for this video, is to show how the whole thing works when assembled. So I've got a demonstration of the panel 3x3 with the LEDs wired up. You'll see that it's kind of a bit prototypical, but this is to just demonstrate how this is going to work when scaled up to the full-size panel. So this is just showing a demo pattern, just to show what the panel will actually look like. It looks a lot better than it does on camera. The camera tends to be showing it far too bright. In person, it's actually just about fine. There's still more printing to go. We've got to print 9 more of those panels and all of the fixtures and fastenings for the back to put the whole thing together. But that's all for this video. If you like this sort of content, please do like the video and give us a comment below. And please do subscribe to the channel for more content. In the meantime, if you want to support my endeavours, please buy me a coffee. Links down in the description below. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching.